Hello, 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 and welcome back to another live stream. How's it going, everyone? Welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday. I'm probably doing well. My air conditioner has been running all day, and non-stop. And now it's hotter because of that. I can't wait for the evening. Also, it's supposed to rain starting Thursday. I can't believe I'm looking forward to the rain. It's okay. 5.6 is out. So yay. I guess. We'll be looking over all the stuff that's because there's finally a roadmap that can actually see what's in 5.6. I don't know why they don't tell people beforehand, but whatever. So we'll be able to take a look at that finally. And then we'll do some game dev as normal. And that's the plan. Other than that, today I found like more money in my account than I was supposed to have. And unfortunately, I had to be a good boy and contact my bank and be like, you guys messed up on the, on the numbers over here. Please take the money back. It was tens of thousands of dollars. I would love to keep it. But I know what happens when you don't report it, which is, you get in trouble and you still have to pay it back. And so I decided to be a good boy and, let him know, like, hey, for some reason, there's all this money in my account. I feel free to keep it there, but I should let him know. Especially since they put it into the account that has a limit of how much money I can have in that account, and it's over that limit, so... But 5.6. I have not looked at I have not looked at the 5.6 preview at all as of yet. And I have not looked at the actual list of things that's actually now on the roadmap, because 5.6 preview is out, the 5.6 roadmap is out. I have not actually looked at that. So it'll be my first time looking at it and seeing what's actually in 5.6. So I'll go in detail on the things I know about in terms of, like, obviously 3D stuff, anything that concerns me or etc. But if it's something I don't know and I can't really speak on, like the motion VFX stuff, I'm obviously just gonna make a note of it, but I'm not gonna go in depth on anything because I don't think I should be speaking on something I don't fully understand. But I guess we should start. Hello, Burger. Welcome in. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. A lot of updates here. What are we looking into today? All of them. I'm looking into all of them. Let's find out what's on the roadmap. I have not looked at this roadmap. I don't know what's in 5.6. This is my first time finding out what's in 5.6. So we'll go in order. See what's up. Start with rendering. Lumen hardware ray tracing optimizations. Hell yeah. Lumen hardware ray tracing mode delivers even greater performance. Fantastic. More performance is better. Frees up CPU, puts it on GPU. Fantastic. Helps achieve a more consistent 60 Hz frame rate. I mean, let's be honest, these days 60 is the minimum, not the ideal, but yeah. Yeah, we'll get to the PCG stuff. We'll just go in order. RSI render parallelization. I'll be honest. I cannot read. I don't know how to read this. And there's no good tutorials, like for a complete beginner, how to read this, how to, like what, this is the debugger. I don't understand it. If someone wants to make a tutorial of this, if for a true beginner that doesn't understand any of this, and how to like debug something using it, please, someone make a tutorial on it. Please. Like a true beginner tutorial would be so good. Bindless resources. Bindless resources are a low-level feature that are related to the management of textures and other types of data buffers in modern renderer hardware interfaces, such as DirectX 12, blah, blah, blah. Adding support for bindless resources will allow for more flexible GPU programming paradigms and additional features within the renderer, as also a requirement for full ray tracing support on Vulkan. While not a direct user-facing feature. Oh, okay, that's why I have no idea what he's talking about. Okay, so it's just in the background stuff. Awesome. I'm sure this is great. Niagara heterogeneous volumes. Nice. I believe those were added a while back. They're just very expensive, so hopefully combining them with Niagara is going to make them a little bit cheaper. There's tutorials on YouTube. I just haven't found one that is good for like a beginner that explains everything and like shows how do you use it. Oh, like, yeah, I haven't found anything. I was looking a while back. Maybe I missed one. Virtual shadow map optimizations. Hell yeah. More optimizations is good. Not much to say about this. More optimizations. Good. Substrate materials is going to beta. Substrate materials, while awesome, the fact that you could use only substrate or only the current ones is a deal breaker for so much. It is. Because substrate doesn't support layered materials. And that's huge. At least for people like me. So, I don't know. They also cost more in performance from what I've been hearing. So yes, you get nicer looking stuff, more advanced looking stuff. But for if you go with like a basic, base color, roughness map, normal map type scenario, from what I've been hearing from people, it's more expensive. I haven't tested it myself, but we'll see. Substrate performance is not really well explained. We need to see proper battle test. It doesn't support layered materials, and that's a huge deal breaker for me. That's my big gripe with it, is layered materials. Because that's how I work. I work in layered materials, right? You just have, because the way I like to do materials is I have like, let's say I'm building a brick, like a brick building, right? So I might have like a clean brick and like stucco on top. And then I would use either like just vertex paint or something else to paint it out. But then maybe like for another object, I'm like, I want those two, but I also want this other thing, right? And this one's going to be using an RGB mask or a top-down normal blend, or whatever else. I can control how it blends on a layered material. I can't do any of that stuff. I have to hard code it basically in Substrate. So layer materials do a per pixel. Well, it depends what you're doing with it. It depends how you what you're doing. Let's put it this way. I have never had an environment be not performant because I used a layered material compared to a regular one. That's never been the reason why something doesn't perform. So, and for like hard surface environments, the amount of bonuses, benefit that I get from a layered setup of like unlimited resolution, full control, ease of use, so many other things that to me is like fantastic. But anyway, moving along from Substrate. First person rendering. What am I looking at? I know if you change the scale from based on the camera, yes, it's gonna look the same, but it is moving the environment though. Oh, because he's breathing. First person rendering method prevents players' hands weapons from clipping into in-world objects, includes a separate FOV which allows developers to specify an FOV that differs. Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, this is a very convenient thing that's built in. Yeah, you can absolutely do that with this. Cool. We got a new depth of field option. Always nice to see. I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of the like circle or oval bokeh. I prefer the when you see like the octagon, hexagon, whatever shape of it. I think it looks nicer, but that's a personal preference. GPU Profiler 2.0, fantastic. I would love to see a tutorial for this. Oh, that'd be so nice. Anyway, on to character animation. Most of this I probably won't be able to speak much on, but we can take a look. Sequencer organization. The sequencer is more organized? I'll believe you. I'm not much of a sequencer guy, to say the least. Seamless gameplay transition for cinematics. Oh, hold on. Let's see it. Sequencer will be... Oh, again, sequencer stuff. Okay, so you'll be able to finally blend animation. Okay. You can already do this with the animation blueprint, so I wasn't sure what specifically it was, but that's cool. Give the camera integration. Again, all of this is sequencer. It says character animation, but this is sequencer. I was expecting like rigging and like in-engine. Retarget operation stack. IK Retargeter's framework will be converted to a stack of operations that can be reordered. This expands IK Retargeter to have custom operations for better art directable behaviors. Cool. I don't use it too much, except to convert usually like UE4 to UE5. But... So I can't speak on this too much. I think that's going to be most of this. Oh, this is cool. Tween tools. At least visually looks cool. Motion trails are great. Motion trails are huge for animation. Sequencer have there not been curves in Sequencer before? Made improvements to our curve editor with this release. Oh, okay, just improvements. Nice. Miscellaneous fixes and updates. Scale proportions retargeting. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Now that it's gonna effectively not care about the scale, it's gonna be real nice. Or is it gonna wait? But his arms are up when he's bigger. Or is that his arms up? It's hard to tell. Because of his darn wings, it's hard to tell. I want to pause at the beginning, but I can't pause at the beginning. Is his arms up? So is it broken when it's big? Is that what? I don't know what's trying to show. I'll be honest. I don't know what's trying to show. Control rig physics. Nice. It's called morph face. Morph shapes. I don't know why I said face. Geometry cache. Good. Rig locomotor. Ooh. That's cool. Load to help make procedural walking and rig instead control rig easily. Such as spider walking along various geometry and runtime. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, it adapts to the scale, but I don't want it to. What if I'm transferring animations? Why would I want to adapt it to scale? I feel like I wouldn't want to. But again, I'm not an expert on this, so like I feel like if I had this arm rotate like 20 degrees, right? I'd want this arm to rotate 20 degrees. I don't want it to go up because the other one's not rotated up. But I mean, maybe that's how I'd want it, but maybe some people want it differently. So it's good to have extra control is always good. So I'm not gonna complain about that. So MetaHuman stuff. MetaHuman creator in Unreal Engine. Oh, finally. So it's been taken out of Quixel because it's not in Fab anymore. And finally, we're going to have the creator in Unreal Engine. Thank goodness. Not having any MetaHuman creator since Quixel died, basically, that's been shit. I know some studios that have been real upset by that. So that's good. Parametric body system with resizable clothing. Cool. Supports the new parametric body system. Powered by real-world scan data. Cool. It'll be interesting to see what MetaHuman real-time facial animation from single camera or audio. Yeah, I like the problem with this is it'll do the basics for you, but it definitely will not be like this is not final animation, right? Like this is supposed to be surprise, dead stare, right? Not even a blink. Like this is good for like a base mouth stuff and like general good baseline to start with, but you still need to like go in and actually make it feel alive. I hope nobody's going to use this and be like, oh yeah, this is it, I'm done. But it's great, a tool. Mutable macro libraries and streaming. Macro libraries enable mutable graphs to be reusable. I don't know what mutable graphs are, so I assume it's beyond me. Well, it's MetaHuman stuff, so it's definitely beyond me. You're upset that Quixel died? We all need proper filters in Fab? Oh, yeah. Yeah, the filters are such garbage. And, like, going to... I mean, I can go on many long rants about Fab. Now's not the time. Next up, world building. Fast geometry streaming plugin, experimental. Ooh, hello. Fast Geometry Streaming plugin is built to achieve faster streaming of actors that are immutable static geometry and don't impact gameplay. It uses faster and more lightweight method for registering and unregistering static geometry to and from the graphic and physics scenes without sacrificing existing world partition features like runtime data layers and H-slots. Nice. That seems great. I mean, it's experimental. But hey, experimental is still good. That means they're working on it. That's really nice. Again, more streaming performance, same thing. Improved overall engine performance with streaming in and out content of the world at runtime. That is really nice. Hell yeah. Any performance optimizations? I'm just gonna be happy about that. Genuinely. World bookmarks. World bookmarks is a system to help navigation within a level and across multiple worlds while working in the editor. Across multiple worlds. A new dedicated world bookmark outline can be opened through window world partition. World bookmarks tab. Hold on, does it require world partition then? What if you're not using world partition? See, now I want to know if it used, because it's under world partition. So does that mean you can only use if you're using world partition? Because I hope you can do this just in general, because it'd be nice. But I guess we'll need to play around with that. Sub-world partition H-slots. Support for H-slots of sub-world partitions to be visible, even if their owning level is not streamed in. A new build standalone H-slot option set in sub-world partition level is under world settings. Cool. More basically world partition H-slot optimizations, effectively. Landscape batched merged. Oh, what is this? Before Unreal Engine 5.6, all modifications to the landscape would trigger a global merge of all layers, leading to GPU out-of-memory issues when working at scale. Batched merge, enabled by default in 5.6, fixes scalability issue when working with large landscapes by subdividing into multiple distinct areas. This is huge. When applying updates. That is really nice, because I know for certain things that I've done on large landscapes, like tweaking certain things will just crash it. Like I've had that happen, where you couldn't go like actual max size of a landscape you couldn't do for certain things because we make updates to it. I was like, oh no, bye goodbye Unreal. So if that helps fix this, hell yes, that is awesome. Works with any basic landscape edits and with landscape patches plugin. Awesome. It works with patches plugin. Sweet. Okay, now the most important section here. Procedural content generation. Procedural content generation. Hell yes. Again, I haven't looked at this at all. So let's start. GPU grass and microscattering. Hello. Support for PCG GPU compute for sampling directly on GPU, the landscape RVT and grass maps in order to build efficient and customizable runtime grass spawning. RVT priming has been added with control over range and a specific MIP levels to use in order to run PCG GPU compute with RVT rendered beforehand. RVT is a material thing, effectively. I mean, the grass node thing is a separate thing than PCG for spawning things. It seems you can spawn things on the GPU using the GPU, which is great. But there's some things here that I don't fully understand. PCG GPU compute for sampling directly on GPU for landscape RVT and grass maps. So can you sample? This is something I'll need to experiment with. Either way, more performance is good. GPU compute performance. 5.6 introduces a multiple performance improvements when using PCG GPU compute, including support for lazy feedbacks when going through subgraphs, gather and grid size nodes to avoid heavy GPU and CPU round trips. Cool. Optimizations, basically. Optimizations. So just optimizations here. There are too many things to use GPU, though, at the current moment. Unless they've added some nodes, which they might have. Hey, Guts. Welcome in. How's it going? I hope you're doing well. Hopefully they added some GPU nodes. GPU hierarchical generation, speaking of which, allows passing data from GPU downstream to downstream GPU nodes, executing in smaller grid sizes for graphs using both hierarchical generation and GPU compute. Okay, this is partitioning. There's a point processor, probably for the grid size. So So this is all world partition stuff. And yeah, the custom HLSL is where the GPU is. But now I see static mesh spawner GPU. And that's interesting. Copy points GPU. If we can now use just GPU in general to spawn these things, and our old CPU points are now GPU, hell yeah. GPU data interfaces. Textures read and write. Hello. Texture data interface supports reading from and writing to textures on the GPU using get texture data, base texture data inputs and outputs, and specific PCG GPU compute HLSL kernel declarations. A texture processor and a texture generator pre-configured HLSL operators have also been added. Static meshes data interface supports accessing and sampling mesh vertices and triangles on GPU using the get static mesh resource data. Mesh resources data input and output, and specific PCG GPU compute HLSL kernel declarations. I'm not an HLSL wizard, to put it mildly, but if we have access to, this is GPU. You have get texture data, get virtual texture data, get static mesh resource data. If we can sample vertices and things on static meshes, we kind of could already, technically speaking, using the mesh sampler. Actually, I mean, we'll see. If that information is available as an attribute, it'll be interesting to see. Runtime virtual texture stuff, as we discussed before. Landscape RVT and grass maps. Yeah, we covered this. The get landscape node can be used to retrieve the landscape RVT automatically for GPU compute. See, again, I've always thought of RVT as a material thing, right? Because you blend the material using RVT, so it itself is not a material, but it's for materials. So it'd be interesting to see what this is or how this works. There's probably not going to be any documentation for any of this. Have a good night, Burger. Thanks for stopping by. Let's continue. Point data structure of array. Ooh. The new default UPCG point array data point. Love that. Point data stores the new default UPCG point array data. Point data stores properties and attributes in a structure of array representation, making it more optimal, especially when working with large amounts of points and attributes. This significantly improves memory usage for both in-ender and runtime use cases.
Ads are here. Pausing for ads.
What? So it just... Is this just back-end stuff? I think it's just back-end stuff. Hey, Patrol, welcome in. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. I'll wait for ads. So, from my understanding, though, it is just back-end. It is now using arrays when it could, I guess. So, yay, optimizations. Bunch of new things for Sunday videos. I mean, I don't know about a bunch. We'll see. how much. There's a good amount of stuff here, so we'll see like what everything is. We'll play around with some stuff. Okay. So, seems like backend stuff. Execution efficiency. What? Hold on. Before I, what am I looking at? Oh, again, profiler. Love that tutorial. We're getting the data sets ready for multiple threads. Yeah, but it's like backend stuff. Like, it's not a user thing that needs to worry about. That's what I mean. Which is great. In Unreal Engine 5.6, the PCG framework execution efficiency is greatly improved for both offline in editor and runtime use cases with those changes. Graph execution multi-threading is now enabled by default. Nice. I didn't realize it was not using multi-threading before. Performance impact of dynamic dispatches such as loops is heavily reduced. Nice. Loops are fantastic. Do a lot of execution and scheduling code off the game thread. Nice. Per data CRC caching is now enabled by default. I don't know what CRC is. Reducing the amount of work if only some data has changed within the collection. Seems like optimization stuff. Great. More optimizations. Added frustum calling options and runtime generation. If we have frustum calling in PCG, that's going to be really nice. Because basically frustum calling is, if you see it, it's visible. If it's behind you, it doesn't generate, right? So if you generate a giant forest, let's say, and there's trees behind you, they're not going to generate or be like loaded in. Theoretically, if it's doing frustum culling. But normally PCG is one giant actor, so it would load everything. Unless you're doing partition, but then it loads by partition. You get the point. Limit on concurrent generation during runtime generation can be controlled. Nice. Default PCG editor and runtime frame rate budget were adjusted considering these performance improvements to reduce the overall impact of the framework while executing graphs. Fantastic. Basically performance improvements. Nice. Giant thing of performance improvements. Biome Core V2 plugin. So they redid it. Fantastic. Biome Core and Biome Sample Plugins V2 is a major overhaul of the PCG-based tool to address performance and scalability, improve workflows, and add new features. So basically, they just redid the entire thing. Congratulations. If you're using the old one, it's now obsolete. Go start a new project with a new one. The main conceptual change is that everything is defined and generated locally for each biome actor. A new local biome core PCG component and graph executes and produces point data per biome actor. These points are then used in the global biome core, which only updates and spawn modified point data. Interesting. So effectively, because before it was one giant actor and then it, like, the zones would modify that one actor effectively. This is, every single one is its unique thing, from my understanding. Could be wrong, but that's just my understanding reading that. This overhaul allows to address the point above while maintaining data compatibility with previous version and unlocks new features such as, oh nice, so you don't have to redo the entire thing. Local updates per biome actor, per biome local cache, per biome local blending with control over blending range, noise, and density. That is a big one. That is something people wanted with the original, which is great. Support layering multiple biomes instead of a previously binary behavior. Fantastic. Also something people wanted. Difference between generated points is applied between all biomes based on priorities. Great. I think there was priorities in the previous one too, but it was the biomes were like on or off, so I didn't understand the whole point of the priorities. So now it'll actually make sense, at least for me. Runtime GPU ground scatter example supports a local biome cache data, per biome blending, micro detail assemblies, and uses the new RVT data interface. Cool. Lots of RVT stuff. Full assembly and child assembly support. Cool. New texture-based biome actor type using actor bounds as UVs and applying its transforms with control over biome color tolerance. If it automatically places it and scales it based on the landscape, that would be amazing, because setting that up manually was a pain. Optional local assets and default bio definition embedded and unique per biome actor, reducing the need of separate asset files. Yay, less files. Less things to deal with. Local preview mode to work more efficiently when creating a new biome. Local preview mode. Interesting. Retrocompatibility with existing data. Graph simplifications and tidying such as inline constants, removing unnecessary loops, and removing complexity of the biome cache handling. Optimizations. Yay! New revision comes with a runtime GPU ground scatter example leveraging PCG GPU landscape RVT interface and microscattering with GPU copy points by indices matching. Jesus Christ. That's just all of this was basically the description of it, and that was a mouthful. Okay, a good way to have a deeper look at how to leverage the new GPU functionalities. So we'll take a look at it basically. Both Biome Core, the tool, and Biome Sample, the example content showcasing the tool, have been added to 5.6 release over the original plugin content. Prior to upgrading, even if the data compatibility is mostly persistent, it is recommended to copy the plugins if they were not copied before and used or modified. Yeah. Well, my general rule of thumb is do not, under any circumstance, modify the plugin content because of this. Right? You shouldn't be using. You can use the plugin content as long as you're, or anything inside of the engine or anything inside of the plugin directory, as long as you're not modifying it. Oh, I say go nuts. Use it. It's there. But if you plan to modify anything, then make copies of it. Don't use it what's there, because then you update the engine and it goes, oh, bye bye. So, really cool. We'll just play around with it. Metadata domains. What the hell are you? Go back. Show what you were doing. Points and data. What? Add data. So now you can have metadata in different sections separate from the point data. Okay. Let's read. In Unreal Engine 5.6, support for metadata or more than just points and attribute sets has been added, and the framework has been extended to support metadata domains. Attribute operations were also updated to support this concept. I don't think they meant to say where. I think they meant to say were. So metadata domains define at which level the metadata should be accessed and written. See, like, the word metadata always confuses me, because metadata is just The attributes. The attributes I thought was was metadata. But now they're saying the attributes are not metadata. For a non-programmer like me, this confuses me. Metadata domains define at which level the metadata should be accessed and written from points entries up to the point data level, making it ideal to flow attributes without requiring to write them to every entry. Ah, okay, I see. It can be easily represented when thinking about a mesh where metadata could exist on vertices, triangles, and the mesh itself. So basically, if you need to be like this, like I need to know if this is a door, you don't need to assign it to every point. You can just store the fact that all of it is a door as a separate thing, I think. Because then it's not that variable, and then you can check is door yes or no, and then go from there. I think we'll need to play around with it. Obviously, in 5.6, the highest level domain available will be the data domain. Domains are prefixed by @ when selecting them to read or write to. To write a new attribute at the highest data domain, use @data.myAttribute as the output attribute name in an attribute node. Then use @data.myAttribute as the one source in a multiply attribute operation and apply it to scale properly for each point data entry. Okay. Each data is responsible to knowing which domain is supported and which domain is default. For point domains, add points. Attribute sets is @elements. Of course, it's going to be a different word. And @control points for splines are the default domains. For all other spatial data, the domain @data is the default. When there's no domain specified, it will take the default one matching the behavior prior to 5.6 when working with attribute operations. This is interesting. Hey, holy crap, welcome in. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. That's interesting. So basically, if you wanted to, let's say, scale all your points by a value. I mean, no, that's not a good example. Because that value could be... You just read the value and immediately assign. But if you want to store the value for whatever reason, it can be stored in this data, and then later on used to then scale the points with it, or do whatever you want. You just have access to that value. It'll be interesting to see. I need to think of the use cases for it. In 5.6, you can now manipulate control points properties directly and read or write any metadata attributes and use them in different attribute operations without having to convert point data. Control points properties accessible are position, rotation, a lot of stuff. So this is spline data. So you can control this without actually doing 2-point data, which is nice. Not needing to convert spline data to do position, rotation, scale, all this stuff is really nice. Spline data domains are @data.spline transform and data is closed. We have access to all this. That's gonna be nice if you can modify it all. We'll need to experiment. I'm not even halfway through the BCG section. I mean, it's great. It's great that it's big. Graph parameter UX. Nice. User interface. Hey, DJO. Welcome in. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. BCG graph parameters are now easier to work with as part of multiple improvements toward better usability across the framework. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, so finally we can do... Oh, we can just drag them up and down like normal variables? Oh, this is so nice. Oh, thank God. you just drag them in. Oh, we can make it a constant. We can. Oh, this is, and you can expose only certain things. Oh, yeah. I've wanted this. I have wanted this for a while. Okay, a dedicated graph parameters panel that can be docked anywhere in the PCG graph editor. Fantastic. Even better. Drag and drop directly into the graph to get parameters. Yep. Reorder parameters. Yep, we just saw that. Quick conversion from constant to parameters and parameters to constant within the graph. Wonderful. Create new constants or parameters from the right-click node palette. Oh, fantastic. You don't need to do a create attributes. Wonderful. Categorizing graph parameters and use I. God, I assume that's a capital I. I assume that's a capital I. But you don't know, maybe it's an L. Thank you, the default fonts for that. Fix graph parameter overrides when setting them as a blueprint class PCG component. Sweet. Yay, this is great. Inline constant. Oh my, finally. Oh, I've wanted this so much. Oh, inline constants. Oh, yes. We don't need to make a create attribute every time. We just need to multiply it by a value or add a value. We just, it's just there. Does that mean he doesn't even need the constant? Why does he even need the constant in there now? Could he not just use just an add up operation? I mean, to be fair, why is he then adding? But yes, this is so good. Oh, incredible! It took them that long for them to implement this. I don't care. It's finally here. It'll be another year before I get it at work, but you know, my local stuff, yes. Heck yes. Landmass and water bodies are awesome. Nice. I'm glad you like them, Holy Crab. Just like graph parameters, inline constants were part of usability improvements when working with the framework. Inline constants are available on all attribute operation nodes. Yes, such as, it's all of them. You said all. The word there is all. Oh, so good. There you look at. I'm going down the list in order. Did you know? If it's lower down, I haven't seen anything. I'm going literally in order. First time seeing this. Preview viewport for PCG. I'm sorry, what? We can finally do previewing? Oh, that's gonna be nice. Oh, that's nice. Oh, the micrograss one? Yeah, that confused me. I'll get back to it after this one. Real quick. This is real nice. Allows you to look static meshes, dynamic meshes, textures, points, volumes, splines, collision shapes, primitives. This is great. Having a preview is real nice. It's not necessary in certain scenarios, but being able to be like immediately get a result without needing to go to the viewport. Oh man, my tutorials are actually gonna be great. I don't even need to drag anything into the viewport. I'm like, here, you're seeing it right there constantly. Oh, that's gonna make the tutorial so much nicer looking. Oh, screw the rest of the details. Let's make nicer tutorials. Yeah, this thing, I saw this. It confused me because it supports sampling directly on GPU. That's cool. On the GPU, the landscape, RVT, and grass map in order to build efficient, customizable runtime grass spawning. This confused me because RVT is just a something that I use to make material blending between objects and the landscape. So what am I sampling there? Which confuses me. And then the grass is for materials. The grass node is what spawns things. But if I'm spawning it with grass, then I'm not spawning it with PCG. So is it just to sample it so I can do like a difference node or something like that, I guess? It confuses me without actually seeing it visually and testing. So, yeah. We'll see. You have different layers in the RVT. I'm not an expert in RVT. I've used it, but like I've used a single like landscape RVT and that's it. So that's the limit of RVT that I've used. So it's probably just not something I'm familiar with. Debugging workflow. Ooh. Improve debugging workflows when working with a PCG graph editor, subgraphs, loops, deep hierarchies, etc. I say etc., but there's only one thing left, which is and multiple PCG components. I guess I was just that lazy. I didn't want to finish that little bit of the sentence. Intuitive navigation between graphs with quick jump and return to selected debug object. Nice. Debug object functions with which persist selection. Yeah. Better scalability. I mean, really, let's look at this. This is what... Really, we just care about the visuals. Jump to graph. See, I guess... Because this is the PCG icon, so this is just showing PCG and PCG and PCG. So it just allows you to jump inside the nodes. I'm sure I would want to see this on a more simple graph for me to fully understand the benefit of this. I mean, it seems nice, but I need to like play around with it myself, I think. Template graphs. Hello. Template graphs. Basic forest. Biome generator. Building grammar. My project dungeon. Well, that's probably not a default one. Unless, I don't know why that's called that way then. But create graph from template is nice. Allows any graph to be marked as a template using a graph settings is template flag. When creating a new PCG graph, a template graph can be selected as a starting point with pre-configured nodes and graph parameters. Is an easy way to pre-configure graphs for users of a system relying on PCG or providing examples. Okay, this one's going to need to be experimented with because what's the difference between the quote-unquote template and just duplicating the graph and using it as a starting point? That immediately goes into my head. Like, what's the difference? Why don't I just duplicate the graph, rename it, and then just go off of it if it's just reusing it? So it's probably doing something more than that. So we'll need to play around with. Also, we'll see what the default ones are. It's gonna be nice. Graph customization. Hello. What do we got here? Filtered categories. Ooh. So we can just only show certain categories. Why would I want to? Allows the BCG graph to filter available node categories and subgraphs. When combined with template graphs, it becomes easy to limit what is accessible within a specific context. Combining both also allows the possibility to leverage the BCG editor itself as an abstract tool by restricting what is accessible to users to only what should be used for a given tool or system without any prerequisite knowledge of BCG. Example, a BCG dungeon generator tool where the BCG graph editor becomes the high-level dungeon layout creation tool through graph templates and customization that limits access to dungeon rooms, subgraph only, and removes all base BCG nodes from the node palette. This one, I don't fully understand. Because not like why it exists. Like it's cool. Like sure. But if I'm making this, I don't want to hide anything. It's a very niche scenario, right? Because if I'm making this, I don't want to hide anything. If I'm making something for someone to use, like an artist needs to use this BCG graph, I'm not gonna have them ever open the BCG graph. I'm gonna have those values exposed so they can customize it. So they should never go in here. This is like in a very specific case where you created something and it's like used for a teaching tool. But even then, no, I would need to like get a breakdown understanding of like what scenario you'd want to do this on, because I can't think of one right now where I'd want to not. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I just always want to have all the information because that's how I learn about new nodes, by trying them out. So, don't know. Explicit execution dependency. In order to better control execution, a new explicit execution dependency pin has been added to every node. This provides a way to gate the execution of the data flow based on the completion of other nodes at any point in time. It can be used to define at which grid size level an inputless node will execute when using hierarchical generation. Cool. So they all now have an execution dependency. So wait until landscape is ready. I mean, that's cool. This does have use cases, like if you need to wait for something to finish loading in, like the player before maybe it needs to get the reference from it. I mean, yeah, I can see some use case for this. Pretty cool. Nice addition.
Ads are here.
Nope.
Pausing for
That's
ads.
Guess it depends what we can do. Put in the white. Because if this was in a blueprint and I need to wait for a certain action, I can just not generate the PCG graph in the blueprint. Or, I mean, wait for something to like load in and then find out in the blueprint and then tell it to generate. That's also an option. But that's if you're using a blueprint. If you're not using a blueprint, then this gives you a way of doing it, which is nice. Mm, so many things. I will say I think it's not as exciting as the 5.5 one. There's a lot of stuff, but I don't think it's as exciting as the 5.5 one. Because the 5.5 one was nuts. Okay, let's continue. Here we go. Additional nodes and operators. Okay. Get is editor. Is editor? Is runtime generation. Oh, okay. Whether or not it's runtime, this is just... Well, hold on. Get is editor. I mean, if it's not runtime generation, then it's editor. If it's not editor, then it's runtime. Unless there's another thing, but I don't see another get is. So this tells me that it's effectively the same thing, but just different thing returns true. Get depth. Get console variable. A console variable. That's interesting. Apply hierarchy. Wonder what that does. Remove empty data. I guess that's useful. I haven't run into a solution where I had empty data, but probably useful. Hash attribute, do not know what that is. Generate seed. Interesting. And it generates a random seed, but no, it takes an input. Okay. Instant skinned mesh spawner. What? Spawn instance actors. Spawn instanced actors. But they're already instanced by default. It spawns an instance static meshes by default. Okay, we'll need to figure out what the hell that is. Export selected attributes. Okay, this is going to be big. If we can actually get the attributes somehow into Unreal, this is going to be huge. Get virtual texture data, get static mesh resource data. It's going to be interesting. Generate grass maps. Just a wait. I appreciate that. A custom HLSL texture processor and a texture generator. That's new. That's interesting. Because all the texture stuff is new. Slightly, it's almost the same color. Same as this. So these grass maps, I guess, is this all texture information. Get actor data layers and partition by actor data layers. Let's read. There's a lot here. My God. I'm tired of reading. Okay, what does it have? Get execution context. Returns true or false based on selected execution context. Yep, we kind of figured that out. Apply hierarchy. Reapplies transforms of the parenting hierarchy from the exported attributes within PCG data assets. Useful when working with assemblies and applying modifications on their point data, i.e. a tree trunk point might be forced to stay within a given range over slopes, and its attached branches and leaves should be placed relatively to the trunk. Was initially created for electric dreams and have been nativized in 5.6 to be used in Biome Core V2. I don't fully follow it. Probably something I need to play around with and like see actually in practice. Hash generates a hash integer value based on any incoming attribute, useful to create unique identities when combining different attributes together. I'm sure someone knows what hash actually does. I've heard of the word. Like, hash browns are great. I haven't had them in a while. And yes, I know the other hash. I just don't know what it means. Like, in practice. Generate seed. Generates a seed from a random stream. Oh, that's what the input is. Hash source attribute or hashed constant string. Cool. HLOD and data layer support, and it's now possible to assign specific data layers and HLODs when spawning actors and untargeted actors. When executing partition graphs, like data layers, assign onto the original component owning actor. When executing partition graphs, the data layers assigned onto the original component owning actor will be respected and create dedicated partitioned actors with the same data layer references unless specified otherwise. See, I don't do enough with HLODs for me to understand this. This was just a very hard, long sentence to me. One day. Partition by data layers. This is all basically the RVT stuff. Remove empty data, self-explanatory, set grid size. I thought we had a set grid size. Like the change grid size node, previously named grid size, the new set grid size is the inputless variant. Oh, okay. Cool. Get subgraph depth outputs at which level the node is being executed when used inside nested subgraphs. At which level? What does that mean? I have questions. I'm not going to get answers to these questions, but I have questions. Get console variable makes sense. Being able to get console variables probably is very useful in certain scenarios. Because you could probably get if you get console variables, you can get the quality settings. And so you could spawn different things based on quality, which is really interesting, actually. Think about it. Hey, Max, welcome in. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Why they encrypt the documentation? What documentation? You found documentation? What am I reading? This is the future. This is the roadmap for 5.6. So just telling you what's in 5.6. Just an overview of stuff. Instant skin mesh spawner spawns instant skinned meshes. Visuals to support skinned animation akin to static mesh spawner by attribute. Skinned meshes? Like characters? Like with, like, I'm not sure what it means by skinned meshes. Because I'm assuming maybe it means characters. Oh, got it, Max. Spawn instant actors. Spawns instant actors. This node is only available when enabling the dedicated PCG instance actors interrupt plugin. Oh, instant actors. Oh, I think I asked what the instant actors was about earlier. It's actors, not static meshes. I was thinking static meshes. This is actors. Instanced actors is interesting, actually, if it can do that. Get a virtual texture data from the world and output it to be used in GPU kernel. Cool. Get static mesh resource data. I guess just gets the information. Texture generator pre-configured custom HLSL kernel to write a new texture on GPU and output it for further operations in subsequent GPU compute nodes. I'm curious how, like, what it uses to create it. This is gonna be an interesting one to play around with. Texture processor. Again, attached to this, we'll need to play around with all this. Generate grass maps. Generates base texture data for any specified grass types to be used in the GPU compute node for sampling and filtering. Landscape materials need to be set up with grass types. See, like, I am under the opinion, like, why use the grass node, like the material grass node, right, to spawn things instead of PCG? Because you can't control how it, like, clumps or anything. So I feel like there's probably something I'm missing, because there's a lot of stuff that's, especially with the new setup. So I'll need to figure stuff out. Does any of that mean anything to you? I mean, some of it does, yes. The only grass types you know are Pokemon? No, there's their grass node in materials that allows you to spawn things on landscapes. That's what it's talking about, I'm pretty sure. Export selected attributes. Exports incoming point data or attribute set data as a binary or JSON file at specified location on disk to use externally. Why are we saving it to use externally? I want to use this information internally. Let me have a way of getting PCG data out of PCG and into my blueprints, please. That's what I want. I don't care about external. Give me internal. Damn it. Wait inserts an explicit delay. Cool. Yeah. Sure. I was hoping this export selected attributes was internal. I wanted to be able to, like, make a modifications to, say, a point, and then export the transforms of that point, or export the scale of the point, etc. And then have that information at a specific point in the graph. Because let's say, okay, hypothetically, in this scenario, I am spawning whatever, a forest. It generates the points before it spawns the trees or whatever. In the blueprint side, I get those point information, and then some of them I do something with it, and then that blocks it, and then that blocks some of the points potentially, and then I can continue the graph afterwards. I'm like, okay, those points, now we're checking, like, I don't know, like, I want to be able to read the variables, basically. This is a terrible example, but I want to be able to read the variables from PCG, basically, at certain points in time as modified. One day. Instant actor interrupt. What is this? A new PCG instant actor interrupt plugin is now available to spawn and take advantage of the instance actor system. Instance actors are lightweight instances of complex actors which are kept in their simplest visual-only representation until they are contained within a given radius from the player position, triggering the visual to hydrate into its full actor. Instant actors work with the mass entity framework and are a good way to optimize gameplay performance by reducing the amount of actors to the minimum while maintaining interactions. Spawning a new instant actor at runtime is not yet supported due to the offline nature of the instance actor API at the moment. So effectively, it treats them as static meshes, let's say, as instant static meshes, and then it converts them to actors once the player gets close to them, which is basically similar to the tutorials I've done on like the physics stuff. It just does it by automatically, which is kind of nice. It's experimental. So, but it's nice. That was the PCG section. So, there's some nice stuff. I will say that 5.5, I think, was more impressive. They go to 5.5. Right? Like, we didn't get anything on grammar. Grammar got introduced last in 5.5. We got no new nodes, no new syntax, no new nothing for grammar, which is a bit disappointing. Right? We got supply meshes, world raycast, pathfinding. We got some really like big things, in my opinion, in 5.5. I think 5.6 is good. I think more of it is like UI and optimization than anything else. I think that's the biggest one for me. Right? All of the UI, graphical, optimization stuff is fantastic. There's a few things that are like, yeah, we gotta experiment with it. But nothing here that's like, oh my god, I can't wait. My fault, I didn't do enough grammar tutorials. Sorry. It's all my fault, I know. I'm the worst. Developer iteration. I'll be honest, I can't speak on any of this. This is completely beyond me to even look at. Audio. I mean, look, I'll be honest. Meta sounds. I'm not even using meta sounds in my game. Again, not something I can really speak on at all. The audio stuff. Platforms, Android emulator integration. That's cool. You can do an emulator in Android, I think. Optimize device profiles. Cool. Let's see. In-editor platform preview. Oh. The platform preview allows artists to preview Unreal Editor the content as it would look like on device. Unreal Engine 5.6 brings the following improvements to the platform preview. Texture groups view supports aspect ratio and safe zones. JSON device preview. Texture streaming budget, emulation, and UI improvements. Cool. That's probably very useful. Mobile rendering. Cool. Motion design. I've not seen anyone use this yet. I don't mean like nobody's using this, but like I don't use it myself. No one, right? It's not something that's done at work, so just I've not seen people use this, but it seems really cool. Like, I want to play with it. I just, because it's specifically inside of its own system, and it can't just be like in the world, from my understanding, I've never really played with it. FBX level import with interchange. In an effort to align the UI UX for importing different file formats into the engine, the FBX level import process is available through the interchange framework. This is now the default path to import an FBX into a level. Users can still fall back to the legacy behavior with the help of a CVAR. Main change comes from the use of the same import dialog than the import in content folder. Yeah, I saw this new thing in 5.5. But I guess the importing to level now also uses it. Customize USD asset import with interchange. So USD format is an interesting one because from my understanding, and I'm not someone that's used it, personally. USD is open source, from my understanding. But because of this, no one is agreeing on what it supports, but it still does USD. Which means like programs like Maya just don't read certain things that another USD file can have, or vice versa. So because it's not standardized, I don't know why I would use it. USD sucks for now in Unreal Engine. Well, it's also experimental here. But yeah, I don't use USD in Unreal. And that's probably why I don't use USD in general. But the fact that it's not standardized means that every single company is hopefully going to implement it the same way. But if they do, then it's standardized, and that's defeats the right. It's a weird one. But yeah, I don't use it personally. It supports a lot of cool stuff. It's just a matter of people implement it. Framework stuff. What do we have? What kind of framework? Mover plugin. Mass debugger overhaul. We've introduced a completely redesigned mass debugger. I didn't even look. I'm struggling with the regular debugger. There's now a mass debugger. My goodness! Someone make a tutorial. Mass entity builder. New experimental tool designed to simplify and streamline procedural entity creation in mass. I mean, I would love to see a little visual with it to really understand what it's doing. Gameplay cameras experimental. Ooh. As the camera system evolves, it brings along new powerful tools from gameplay and cinematic workflows. Sequencer-driven camera rigs, live editor previews. Camera rigs now run an editor with full simulation, including picture-in-picture previews and HUD overlays when piloting. Blueprint parameter rigs. Parameterized. Able logic can drive camera behavior in real time via blueprint inputs. Enable fully dynamic and reactive rigs. Because you can already do a lot of stuff, but I guess it's just extra control. What is this though? Camera rig asset. This is probably something that is very custom, it seems, because that's not a normal blueprint icon. So this entire thing is probably not something for me. State trees. Ooh, okay, hold on. State trees. We improved how task completion triggers state transitions in state tree, giving designers more control and clarity. Previously, a state tree would complete as soon as any task finished, often leading to unexpected behavior. Yes. With a new task control flow, designer can now define which tasks contribute to the state completion and whether transitions should wait for all selected tasks to finish. This makes state trees easier to debug and more intuitive to use, especially in complex scenarios where some tasks, like logging or visual effects, shouldn't interrupt the state logic. Oh, that is huge. Any task completes a group or all tasks complete. Okay, so that is pretty big. That's not big. I've gone around this by just not completing certain tasks and just putting them beforehand. But because what you can do that I've realized in state trees, if you're using them, is what you can do is have none of your custom tasks complete. None of them, make none of them finish. Like unless you need assuming they are instantaneous, you can have none of them finish, and at the very end, you can just add a wait of a time of 0, and basically the wait of a time of 0 will be your finisher, in quotes, right? It will finish your stack, and because it's all the way at the end and it goes in order, then everything's fine. So that's the way around it. But this allows you to tweak that, which is nice. Navigation system supports en masse. Experimental navigation system for mass that enables mass-based characters to navigate complex environments using nav mesh and pathfinding. Cool. C3 UX and workflow improvements. Ooh, what do we got? We're continuing to enhance the Sage Tree editor experience with several quality of life upgrades aimed at improving clarity and usability. A new binding viewer helps you quickly inspect all data bindings within a Sage Tree asset, making it easier to debug and maintain complex logic. You can now also manage tasks and conditions directly within the Sage view, streamlining editing workflows. Additionally, properties in nodes and instance data can be selectively hidden based on context, helping reduce visual clutter and focus attention where it is needed most. Yeah, well, that was a lot of words, but let's look at this. Bindings. So it just gives me a list of the bindings. Okay. I thought it was going to be a more visual thing, but I mean, it's still fine. Delegates and asynchronous task support. We've added new tools to make C-Trees more event-driven and performance-friendly, starting with support for delegates and asynchronous tasks. The new C-Tree delegate system allows tasks to communicate internally using dispatcher and listener binding. This makes it easier to build reactive logic chains. For example, a task detecting a hit event can notify another task change color without relying on ticking or external events. Designers can now bind transitions or actions directly to task level delegates in editor, making logic more modular, readable, and responsive. Oh, can we use event dispatchers then? Is that what it means? Because we can use event dispatchers in stage trees. That's going to be real nice. Let's get some light in here. It's been dark. We've also expanded asynchronous task support through the weak execution context. Weak execution context is lightweight and safe to copy. It provides a simple handle for async logic. If this is working, if this is what I think it is, then this is gonna be great. That's gonna be great. Ooh, okay, here we go. Ticks and performance. Sage now supports scheduled ticking, significantly reducing performance overhead by avoiding unnecessary updates. Is it what I think it is? Sage trees will now only tick when needed, such as when the task requires it, an event occurs, or a delay completes. Tasks or states can also request specific tick intervals. Yes! Enable per state throttling. Sleeping instances will automatically wake when relevant activity resumes.
Ads
Finally!
Pausing for ads.
In behavior trees, you were able to do like custom tick basically intervals. And finally we're getting that in state trees. That is big. Because like certain things you don't need to run on tick. You just need to run like 10 times a second or something like that. So I'll need to see where it's controlled, but that is pretty nice. Pretty nice. I'm glad to see some Sage Tree stuff. Would have loved to see some grammar stuff. I think grammar as it is right now is more complicated than it should be. The fact that it requires like so many nodes to then match the scale and everything of the grammar, and then if you want to tweak it, it's a complicated mess. I feel like it should be streamlined to like 1 or 2 nodes, like that whole back section basically. But that's me personally, how I feel with it. Okay. Iris network system. What is this? I don't think it's something I'm familiar with. Well, it looks like Fortnite. Probably why I'm not familiar with it. Live editing workflows. I'm sure it's great. Simulation and VFX. Niagara LWC tile update mode. Optimize Niagara system compl. Ooh, optimize Niagara? A new mode for compiling Niagara systems by default. Improve it is especially noticeable in systems with many emitters and complicated effects. Yay, performance optimizations. Yay. Cloth. Chaos Cloth. Chaos Flesh. Chaos Visual Debugger. Chaos Data Flow Editor. Chaos Core. Chaos Destruction. And Chaos Hair. Why is it all chaos? Iris is epic next gen for networking. Ah, that explains why I don't know about it. I have not dealt with networking. Chaos Destroyer system is a collection of tools. Yeah. Optimized for performance and grants artists and designers more control over configuration and the fracturing process by using an intuitive, non-linear workflow. Cool. TF is Chaos Flesh. Sounds like something from a 40k universe. What do you mean? It's exactly what it seems. Chaos Flesh makes your flesh go away, and then you're left with just muscle. It makes all but your muscles go away. That's why it's chaos. Why is it Chaos Flesh? Why is it not Chaos Muscles? No, DGL, that's something very different. That's something very different. Although you could probably use it for that, you know. That is probably where you would use it. Programming does the opposite. It keeps your flesh and muscles waste away. Go to blueprints. Content browser. What are we getting with the content browser? The content browser has been redesigned to enhance the organization and viewing of assets with smoother thumbnail resizing. In addition, it now works seamlessly in both horizontal and vertical orientations. So yeah, I think before the search was here. Now the filters, I mean. Now the filters are up here. I'll be honest, I never use these. I just type it in the search. Probably because I don't need to filter it that much normally. But cool. And yeah, we're getting the new look for this, which is kind of nice. I don't know why they swapped the sides here. This has been on the right side forever, and this has been on the left side forever. Why swap it at this point? What possible reason do you have for swapping it after all this time? That's my only question about this new viewport toolboard navigation is why swap? What possible reason? Hey Leo, welcome in. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Buttons are going to be something. How do one even handle a polygonal button that isn't a square? Like a triangular button or a circular one? Well, it's possible. My brain's been reading all this for what, an hour and a half, so I can't tell you, but I know it's possible. I've done it before, Leo. I think it's one of those where you have to check what your mouse is hovering over type things. And then No, I take it back. It might not be possible because I tried doing that for my light manager. And I had a circle and I could not get rid of the corners no matter what. There's ways of doing it though. I can think of some stuff right now. Hey, Madman, welcome in. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Gotta check out what's cool in 5.6. Yeah. We're almost done, though. I'll probably make it into a video. The only thing I can think of is an on-screen mesh that correlates to the on-screen button itself. If you have a mask cutting the button out, you can put something on top that is the inverse of the mask. But then you have the same problem, just in the other direction. No, I don't know. I don't have a good solution for you. Sorry. Media, dockable media viewer. Ooh. Oh, that's nifty. Being able to just drag things in and just line them up like that. That is pretty cool. Yeah, for animations or to line things up, this I can see this being very useful in certain scenarios. Very cool. Sequencer media playback, scrubbing and looping. It's great. Look, I'm partially a sequencer hater. I'll be honest. I don't like the sequencer. Because the sequencer, I just associate sequencer with VFX and not games, even though sequencer is used for cinematics. I don't want to deal with it. That's why. I don't like the sequencer. Spend an entire day refactoring your default pawn so you can reconfigure and respawn different characters. Then whatever time you had left, you were ironing out movement. Nice. It's rewarding when nothing works most of the day and then it all clicks. Oh yeah. You spend all your days in sequencer as long as you're happy about it. That sounds like hell to me. I think at one point I told my supervisor, like early on, that if I ever needed to be if you ever needed me to be in sequencer always, I'd quit. Like I just quit my job. Does that mean it will not have any cinematics? No. We can have cinematics, but just mean, or maybe not. Maybe it'll be just pre-rendered videos. Pre-rendered cutscenes. Remember those? Animation scream and run, yeah. Coming from Maya looks like even to you heaven. I mean, yeah, compared to Maya, everything is heaven. You want floating cars, have a video, but it's not polite linking someone else's channel? Yeah, that's probably not a good idea. Sequencer is just equivalent of hard coding cinematics. It is. Well, it makes sense, right? Like for that kind of stuff, it genuinely makes sense because there are certain animations you don't need in gameplay. You only need it in that cinematic. Right? And so for those scenarios, you would animate it in the sequencer. It makes sense. I just like real time, so... What's the best way to create cutscenes for 3D games? I mean, if you're doing an Unreal sequencer, I'd rather just have it be interactive. So I'd rather it just in game you can run around and still see it and stuff like that. In which case you don't do it in sequencer, most likely. Well, you could. I don't know. Anyway, media I/O improvements. In a continued effort to improve video playback in Unreal Engine for both container-based media and image sequences, Unreal Engine 5.6 brings numerous quality of life improvements across the board. These usability features and fixes will positively impact users from all industries. I mean, if it improves playback of like image sequences and things, that's great. You prefer the Half-Life way, everything from the player perspective? Yeah, that's kind of what I meant. Sequencer animates Unreal existing asset to make the video. Sequencer is basically you can keyframe everything, and when you play the sequence, it does the things you keyframed. You did one real-time cinematic last year for a game, all in sequencer. I'm glad you had fun. Man. Thank you for the gift subs. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I like one person we give it is Asmodeus. Almost as Asmodeus. It's like you have another choice though. Yeah, you don't. And for stuff like that, you do sequencer, right? I'm not saying don't use sequencer. Just I personally much more enjoy the real-time stuff, so that's why I don't like sequencer. That's all. It's just personal preference on that one. Eventually, I'll need to do it probably for the game, unless I can hire someone to do it. I'll just hire DJO to just do my cinematics for me since he enjoys them so much. Yeah. You're bringing that number to 10. Oh, thank you. Why not? The pay is shit. That's why not. Many people say show don't tell, but you have a lot of backstory to convey. I mean, then cinematics are the way to do. You can always do pre-rendered if you want to do like more old school. You know, here's options. What in the world is this? Electra Protron Player. In order to achieve smooth in-editor scrubbing, looping, and syncing performance in Unreal Engine 5.6, we added the Electra Protron, a version of Electra Player that is optimized for local file systems and container-based media. So basically, it's just a player. Cool. NDI input plugin. You can control OBS with NDI. Oh, I guess it's input. It's not output. If this had outputs, I wonder if you could control OBS with it. But, I mean, it's interesting. This is definitely interesting. Quick render. Launching a render with movie render queue requires multiple steps, which can slow down iterations, time for artistic workflows. Quick render makes Unreal Engine's real-time render available from anywhere in editor with a single click of a button, offering 4 options to choose from: current sequence, current viewport, select a camera, use viewport camera, and sequence. Oh, this is awesome. Yes. Less movie render queue. Yes. Also do not like movie render queue. I like movie render queue less than sequencer. I work in VFX, and I don't like VFX. Can you tell? I mean, I say I work in VFX. I work with Unreal, but high resolution tiling and panoramic rendering and graph. Cool. Play render output. Automatically place rendered media in the viewer application of the user's choice. Oh, okay, cool. Multi-part EXR support. I'm sure a lot of people will like that. H.264 movie support. Cool. Movie render graph usability. And you know, base stuff like this is I appreciate. Hopefully I'll never use it, but I appreciate it. Tell me you do work in VFX even if it's client side? I mean, I just finished an environment. So, yeah. I just finished a full Unreal environment. So, client side. And there's another environment that I've been solo on. Show us? Yeah, when it's released, eventually, I'll show you. I'm not showing you NDA stuff. That ain't happening. It hasn't even been shot yet. I think it's shooting this week, next week, I don't know. I'm done with it. I don't care. I can't even tell you what it's for. Not because of NDA, but because I genuinely don't know nor care. Something at the frontier of something? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Space? Oh yeah. Yeah, Star Trek. I tell people that. But I like what show it's up for or what, like I don't know, don't care. Again, I'm a simple person. I like environments. How it gets used, where and whatever. At what episode, I don't. When it gets released, hopefully someone will tell me and I can take a look at it. That's pretty much it. That's all we hope. End display primary node failover. We use end display on the wall. Previously, we added the necessary hooks to end display so that clustered systems can gracefully recover from the most common failure types. Cool. If it means the wall will crash less, I'm sure they'll be very happy. DLSS support for end display. Fantastic. It now supports NVIDIA DLSS alongside built-in upscaling methods such as TSR, etc. We have... I thought we had DLSS already. Do we not have DLSS already? Okay. Or rather, there's a video. It only works by checking against the image alpha if it's 0, but the technique uses a render target. Yeah, that's right. I think in my case, it didn't work because I was checking the color of the pixel, so it ignored the alpha. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, Leo. Take recorder system. I don't know anything about it. Not going to pretend. Custom take recorder tokens. Shot management with cinematic assembly tools. Production wizard. User definable naming tokens. Define and evaluate dynamic naming tokens with ease in both Blueprints and C++. This new plugin streamlines naming workflows across key tools, including more take stuff, mocap. Yeah, so none of this is for me. I mean, it's all virtual production, so you think it's for me, because I work in virtual production, but I don't think it's on the artist side of virtual production. A capture manager, mocap manager, right? Like all of this stuff, I don't deal with as the one making the environment and not on the stage. So cool. That was all. Fake virtual production. Look, I'm a simple person. I'm a simple person. So it took like 2 hours to go through everything, roughly. Yeah, substrate. I don't know why they're dropping layer materials. Layer materials are so nice. Yeah, this one didn't make sense to me. Like, this one doesn't make sense. But Substrate doesn't support material layers. I don't know why, Leo. I have the same question. Yeah, it's a layered material, but without the nice layer UI, which means it's not a layered material. I want to be able to just drop in layer and layer blends. Otherwise, it's just hard coding layers, which we can do like without anything. Nothing special about that. The whole the UIs and the functionality of that is they're working on. They're working on a lot of stuff. Also, I was told by someone else, not by Epic, that Epic told them, and then they told me that apparently 5.6 was supposedly going to be the Megalites full release. I don't see a mention of Megalites here. What happened to Megalites? Huh? Where the Megalites at? A real question, any good way to make UI better looking without configuring every control? Better looking in what regard? Because you can just put images in there that are just nicer looking without changing any control at all. And ironically, your spell system has scaling characters to big and tiny sizes, so you might look into scale proportional retargeting. Do it. You asked them for that last month in one of our calls with them. It's in there? Where? The word mega doesn't even appear. We went through everything. I didn't see any mentions of megalites. Megalites was in 5.5. No. It's out in beta or experiment. It's either beta or experimental. Megalites does not support transparency or translucency. Transparency or even masked. And if it doesn't support that, then what's the point? You did ask for layer UI with substrate. I appreciate it. That's a big one for me. The question if they made it so you could use substrate and the original, I think that would just make it much easier to migrate. I don't know why it has to be substrate or the original that everyone's been using forever. I don't know why it's an or. That's the only thing. Okay, well. We got some stuff to look into. So I guess what we'll do probably is we'll make Fridays our 5.6 experiment days. I don't know why they need to remove A to have B. GPU compute performance and grasp microscattering. This I need to understand better. Tell you have a converter for old style shader and yes, but why can't I just have the because right, the reason I'm asking right now is because I want the layered stuff, right? I want all my layered stuff and everything to still work the same way it did. Like, I don't need a full substrate material if I'm just plugging in a base color and a roughness and a normal texture, right? I don't need substrate for that. I can use the original, which is cheaper, from my understanding. Could be wrong. So, yeah. It's a big ask. Let's put it this way. It's a very big ask for a studio to swap over to substrate. But if you made substrate as like an additional thing, then a studio could enable substrate and then play around with it, use it for a few materials, get familiar with it, and then like, okay, like, yeah, we want to do more materials with substrate or not. But if it's like all or nothing on a studio size, being like, we're going substrate is, I think, a big ask. Wait, if substrate still relies on BSDS, then we can still use material attributes, right? You still do everything the same way, as far as I know. You can still do everything the same way. There's a lot of 5.6, I think, brings a lot more optimizations than previous versions. I think I saw more optimization stuff, I want to say, than the previous version. So I appreciate that.
Ads are here. Pausing for ads.
Some things I just like. I don't know what bindless resources means. Hey DGO, do you use virtual textures? Like actual virtual textures, like VT? And UDIMs on your stuff? Yes. How's that been? I know a while ago that was like it had major issues still. Virtual texture, no. UDIM, yes. Why UDIM? I guess still VFX workflow. How'd I get dark mode? I get flashbang. Oh, just one. So okay. So effectively, no. When I say UDIMs, I mean like more than one 0 to 1 UV set. I have a plugin called Dark Reader that makes any page dark mode. Yeah. Here, if I disable it, get ready. Dear God. Oh. Flashbang. Dark Reader for the win. Yeah, I'll come in, Kyle. Virtual textures were great so far, as you can tell. I know a few Unreal versions ago, at least, the big problem with virtual textures was, for whatever reason, I'd look at one thing in focus and another texture next to it out of focus. No idea why. Could not figure it out, so I stopped using it. Oh, you mean you're using virtual texture, but you're not using UDIMs? Not VT no, comma, UDIM. Okay, VT, comma, no UDIM. You should add some punctuation. It helps. It's like don't eat grandma, right? Don't eat, comma, grandma, or don't eat grandma. Or sorry, let's eat, comma, grandma, or let's eat grandma. They fixed that? Okay. Well, we probably still don't want to use virtual textures on our side. Virtual textures basically means it streams in. Virtual textures are probably nice in games, but not in virtual production. Because if you move super fast, like we have to even disable virtual light maps, because then you have it loading in and out as you move the camera. For a game, it's great. I imagine you're dealing with that a bit. But for cinematics, it probably doesn't happen. You can lock the streaming, then what's the point of it? Isn't the whole point of it, of virtual textures, is the fact that it's not locked? In render queue. Oh, okay, for render queue specific, you can lock it. Okay. That makes sense. Have you guys been playing with the gameplay camera? I haven't touched anything in 5.6. I've spent about 2 hours just looking through what's added in 5.6. Oh. It'll be interesting to see some things. I want to see if I can play around with CPU versus GPU testing. I want to play around with like I'm looking forward to some simple videos. Yeah, this one confuses me. It does confuse me. I want to know how it uses the grass maps. The whole grass maps stuff confuses me. GPU PCG needs HLSL? It doesn't. Not anymore. Starting my spawner, GPU. You have a static mesh spawner, just use the GPU. HLSL still has still GPU, of course, but then you have the copy points GPU. Static mesh spawner GPU. Or a processor GPU. I'll play around with it. I mean, I don't know it super well. I mean, look, I'm guessing right now, GGO. You could be right. I'm going off of this picture. I know nothing outside of what I've read and seen in pictures from this page. It is allow passing data from GPU to downstream GPU nodes, executing in smaller grid sizes for graphs using both hierarchical generation and GPU compute. I don't know. I'm assuming. You've seen videos about it? Where? How have people made videos about this stuff? Look, I've installed 5.6. Allow. Keep that page open. Yeah, there's some interesting samples, but unless you're starting a project, you're probably not going to be using the samples. Yeah. I'm not ending, by the way. I'm just nothing to look at. It'll be nice to see how they implemented some of it in C++. Couldn't tell ya. Couldn't tell ya. Hold on. What did I call? Okay. Screen testing 5.6 project. Uh, 15,000 compiling shaders. 15,000 shaders for 5.6. For PCG GPU. For PCG GPU, look above. You talking about the Isaac Oster on YouTube comment? If you try to sending a link, then links don't work in chat. If you sent a link, just a heads up. Not a link. I saw the Isaac Oster on YouTube, and then for PCG GPU, look above. I'm just waiting for it to compile. Let's see this. Just gotta wait for it to compile. You created a thing from a game. Hey, play God of War. Nice. The original God of War games were so good. Oh, they were so good. The original God of War, like the older God of War, was pretty nice. I struggled through Ragnarok, dear God. I struggled so hard to get through Ragnarok. Mostly the writing was what did it for me. I was like, oh. The guy did a Death Star in PCG with HLSL. Some people are really smart with that kind of stuff. I don't know HLSL. Oh, you made this? I'm confused on what I'm looking at. What am I looking at here? I see this. I see this. Or is that what you're showing? Are you showing this? Just this. Okay. Got it. Cool. Nice job. I was looking at all this, and then I was confused. Okay. Nice job. That's Leo's project. Using the UI material lab stuff? Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, we're compiling under 2,000 shaders now. Hold on. Unreal 5.6 preview is almost open. Just give it another moment. Almost there. You should install Incredibuild. What's that? Is there a way to increase the worker threads so it compiles faster? I don't know. Why is it more? It was done. God. Parallel building. Why is that not on by default? Why? Thank you for the sub equivalent. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Really appreciate it, guys. Incredible. Is it free? Where do I go? Is this the right thing? Yep. Unreal Engine. I was already on the Unreal Engine page. Okay, well, I'll look into it. Thank you. Okay, guys, we're here. This is 5.6. We know we're in 5.6 because we start all the way out here. And not in the middle, where we've always started before. They've changed the starting location in 5.6. That's it. It's a whole new engine. I don't know how I feel about this anymore. It's the starting location just being out here. Just why is it flat then? I have questions. Let's turn that on. Instanced actors, I'll need that as well. I'll turn on geometry script as well. And external data. Fill some info and you get a free license. Oh, nice. I love it when you start a new thing and it already gives you errors. Asset manager settings do not include an entry for assets of type game feature data, which is required for game feature plugins to function. Okay. Let's do ECG GPU. Okay. Well, that looks different. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know how I feel about this yet. Because I'll be honest, even though it's just cleaner, which I appreciate, it makes it feel like it's smaller UI because you are technically losing like all of this area, right? Which I think made it feel taller by default, even when the usability wasn't really. Anyway. ECG. Okay. Create points grid. Bounds modifier. I'll do 0.8 should be enough. City noise. Now hold on a second. Where's the preview? Hold on. How do I get the preview? Uh-huh. I've become French. I like this. Instead of D, it's now A, and you get it. Hey, hello, Mr. Shifty. Welcome in. How's it going? Doing well? What's new in PCG? A lot of stuff. Not funny. Why? What happened? DJ, are you French? Are you French? You're French! Don't worry. mean, that's all I got. Just don't worry. See, that explains why you like the sequencer. Wait. Oh, because by default it doesn't show engine content. Cute. Why are you trying to make sense of it? I don't know. I'm just saying shit. Doesn't mean. It meant absolutely nothing. I don't know what it means. You're asking me, like, what do you mean, how? I don't know how. You think I even think about what I'm saying? No. Hey, Hickory, welcome in. How's it going? I'm doing well. You never know what English people say? Han Han or hor hor for French? Because nobody here says that at all here. I mean, videos, just skits. The people I watched. There's one skit on YouTube. If I can find it. That I think is what like. Hold on, let's see if I can find it. There's a. Oh god, there's a. By the way, if you. Hold on, let me go to this guy. Here, this guy. Louis Superville, French guy, makes lots of shorts about like how French makes no sense. He also does like English and I think some Spanish one as well. Fantastic stuff. He had a short about oh, like this. Hold on. This.
So much. Temps. You. Temps. Time. Temps. Attempted. Temps. Stretch. Temps. Horsefly. Temps. Ant. Temps. As much. Le temps. Wait, your tempting ant is spending your time so much you have so many horse flies in your tent. Attends, t'en as autant de temps dans ta tente.
Alright.
Okay, so now I think that should explain, Hickory, your thing, why people are making those sounds. It's just this guy's I like his stuff popped up in I'll send the link to his stuff. It's absolutely hilarious. It's like he's French and he just like breaks down like things that just makes no sense. Nobody says that way. Yeah, but it's also like, you know, it's like using English also has the Peter Piper picked up pickle peppers. You know, that thing. I forget what they're called. Right. The point is that's where I think it comes from. Is as a this for all languages. Japanese has this for everything. For way too many things. Yeah, tongue twisters. There you go. And I think that's where that probably yeah, which, there. Yeah. All languages have this. Hey, recruit, welcome in. How's it going? I'll be doing well. Oh, interesting. We cannot preview the meshes. Oh, you can add a pin. Oh, that's convenient. Merge points now has inputs. Okay, so this is not GPU. Point processor. Okay, hold on. This is still not GPU. How do we get it to be GPU? Yeah, you could do it in all languages. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that DJ. Hey, Sermon, welcome in. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Hello, Attorney Cog, welcome in. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Oh, great, this guy's back with more BCG stuff. I never left. Welcome in, Cluster. Hope you guys doing well. Why? How do I use this? I'm using the point processor. Is it not? It says GPU there. How do I get this to be GPU? How do I make a GPU? Custom HLS. Oh, hold on a second. But if we look here, is a point processor, and then is GPU, and then he just plugs into a static mesh spawner. GPU. Is there a GPU switch at the bottom? No. It just says here, use GPU. Oh, execute on GPU. Hold on. Where is it? I saw it. Where was it? Oh, it's all the way below debug. Why is it below debug? So do I not need it? Oh, it shows me the memory here now. And the render resolution. Ooh, the stack unit got an upgrade. No mentions of that. I was just trying to see the GPU thing.
Ads are here. Pausing for ads.
I'm going to need to do probably a volume test. I'll do it after that. I don't have enough points for any meaningful like tests of GPU versus CPU. What does the point processor do? That's what I want to know. What does it process? How does it process it? What does it change? I have questions. Because it iterates at every point based on HSL. Yes, but it's a pre-made one, so it has to do something specific. However you want, depending on what GLS. No. But this is. I'm not talking about a custom HLSL node. I'm talking specifically the point processor one, because there's a custom one. You can see. Right? There's a custom one, and that's where you put the custom code. There's a point generator, right, which is just a point generator, and then there's a point processor. So it means it does something like the point generator. Theoretically. A sample they released a couple of months ago have some pretty good examples of ECG GPU. Where did they release the sample? 5.6 is just coming out now. Where is the what? I have questions. Volume sampler. Oh, that's not volume. Wait, what? Why is this? Oh, there we go. I had to update it. Got it. Uh... 8.79 5 touching 6. It's probably not a good enough. This is not good enough a test, but okay. Turning on GPU increased the frame. Oh no, it's increased the frame and game thread. Great. Probably didn't actually, but I would need to do a test far bigger than this one. Sure, my computer is very happy with me right now. Doing this while streaming. 36 on the GPU. 56 frames per second. I mean, not frames per second, milliseconds. 56 milliseconds, not frames per second. My mistake. Okay, what if I did the processing? The GPU time hasn't really changed through all this, so I'm probably doing something wrong. GPU 35, 36. Still 35, 36. Frame hasn't really changed. It's still using the GPU, right? It's not it's GPU time's the high one. It's not CPU time. It assumed that we will get new samples with Unreal Fest next month? Oh, possibly. Is the Cassini sample in the Epic launch? Wait, but the Cassini sample is pre 5.6. Or is there like a 5.6 version? And that's... Oh, so the 5.6 version... Yeah, so it doesn't have GPU stuff then. I wanted to see the new 5.6 stuff. I'm not understanding. Yeah, so what? So me telling it to use GPU does nothing then. So, but see, again, it doesn't make... Here, this isn't GPU. There is no custom node here. Unless you mean this is the point... But it says point processor, not custom. But this point processor doesn't have the same information. This is why I love when things have at least documentation, but for me, documentation doesn't really work very well. I love it when it has like videos explaining things. Like, right? Because like now I'm like, why is my point processor not look like your point processor? Why is it different? But it's still point processor. But right, because this is a purple point pro. What is it? Why is it purple? Because mine's not purple. That's the only point processor we have. Yeah, it just came out today. Preview. No, there's patch notes. This is basically your patch notes. Yeah, so I don't know what this dark purple is. Well, I don't know. I'll figure it out eventually. Do you need another plugin? I've enabled pretty much all plugins. Okay, if I used a... Well, point generator is not going to help me. Welp. I mean, it's cool that we now have more info on the stack unit. Render resolution, memory, input. Also, why by default am I not at 100% screen resolution still? This is all in new locations. Where do I affect screen resolution? Where do I affect screen resolution? I would just find everything again. There was a screen resolution thing here. They got rid of it. They got rid of it. Yeah, you could get it in the project settings. I don't want to deal with the project settings. Right, like, why is my render resolution 61%? Like, I'd want to see it at full resolution by default. I don't want, because by default the thing is, right, it's a TSR. Right. That's why it's doing this. Or not upres. What's it called? Crap. Now I can't find. Upscale? No. It's not upscale or upres. Scale? I want to disable the scaling. Resolution? Render. Resolution. Minimum default rendering resolutions for use in editor viewports. Maximum. That is... Okay, it's under editor... Performance, maybe? Engine... What? Oh, editor performance. Oh, default screen precision, default screen percentage mode for real-time editor viewports using desktop renderer. There we go. Also, if you set it to be 100%, don't keep it on TSR, or that's going to be extra performance cost for nothing. So now it's actually 100%. Good. Also, I'm looking at performance isn't great. Input has never made sense to me. I don't understand why input is at 22 milliseconds. Because I don't think that's controller like input. I don't think that's what it means, because that's dependent on your frame rate. So I don't know what the input is. But anyway. Cool. Well, I guess no game dev stuff got done today. I didn't expect it to take 2 hours just reading through everything. Compressor always custom HLSL for you. Yeah. Same here. But on their thing, it's not custom HLSL. So I think tomorrow we'll do more game dev. But I think Fridays, for a bit, we'll go with testing out 5.6 stuff on Fridays. For a little while. So this Friday, we'll tackle some 5.6 thing. Or try to figure out some 5.6 thing. Maybe the grass stuff. I don't even know where to begin with that stuff is the problem. Where do you even begin without any documentations of any kind? I don't know. I'll figure out something. But yeah, I'll probably what it's Tuesday, right? Probably for Thursday, I'll release the edited version of me going over the documentation. I'm so burnt out from reading all that. My brain ain't functioning enough to also now edit a full video. Plus, I need time to download it and all that. So that's not gonna happen for tomorrow, unfortunately. Yeah, that's the plan. Wednesday, Thursday, game dev. Friday, grass, ECG biomes. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Hope you all have a lovely rest of your night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.